on up on stage too. So we're actually just going to continue rolling with the same format. This is actually great, hearing the perception of the buy side when we usually have providers on this stage. So we're going to kind of keep rolling with that same format. And in the spirit of that, we now have Placeable and AAA of the Carolinas. So what I'll have you guys do is each, just to kick things off, a little bit about yourselves and your companies, and then we'll get into kind of some of the more deeper stuff of what you're doing. So go ahead, Ari, you first.
My name's Ari Kaufman. Whoa.
You're
okay
on.
there? I'm on? All
Yep.
right. I'm the CEO of Placeable. Placeable is a local search marketing technology company based out of Denver. We work exclusively with enterprise advertisers, large multi-location advertisers that are looking to compete on the local level. I'll go more into that in a minute.
We'll dive in a little bit deeper in a second. Heather?
Hi, I'm Heather McBrien. I am the head of digital marketing for AAA Carolinas. Basically what I am there for is to promote anything AAA from a customer-facing digital standpoint. So that means anything website-centric, anything paid placement, search, anything that a customer sees in the digital realm, that's what I provide.
Nice. So we're going to hear a lot about, most of this is going to be a very applied example of something you've done recently. Before we go into that, Ari, I want to give you the chance to give this audience some context of what Placeable is and what it provides. And then we'll go into that very applied example of AAA. So to you.
Sure. So Placeable, first and foremost, is a data technology platform for the large multi-location advertiser. We're dedicated towards helping those advertisers turn information about their locations into a marketable asset that they can use in their digital ad technology and ad campaigns. The Placeable platform is designed to help an advertiser aggregate multiple sources of information about their location. So obviously name, address, phone number, and hours of operations, and SKUs, and products and services, and pretty much anything you can think of that would be unique to locations, and turn that into accurate single source of record about locations. The Placeable Pass is a program that's designed to basically make that information accessible. So once you have information that is accurate and represents the location in current form, having the ability to take that information and express it across various forms of digital media, Placeable Pages being one of those, which is a locator and local landing page platform specifically designed for optimization for local search. It's the only local landing page platform that's integrated with locators and optimized specifically for local search.
And what we're going to go over today is probably skewed most towards pages, but really maps to all of these and the way they integrate.
Right.
So before we go into that example, I know I keep saying that, but I think for a little even more context, Heather, tell us a little bit about AAA of the Carolinas and the challenges you're up against. Particularly, you have some kind of geographic constraints that are set at the corporate level, and the things that you had in mind as pain points before you went to Placeable. What's the situation you're in before we kind of go into how you solved it?
So unfortunately, AAA Carolinas, before we had Placeable in place, we sort of didn't know where to go. We were at a loss. We had hit a brick wall. We have several different geographical definitions that our national headquarters actually restrict us from advertising outside of our territories. So here we have this great national brand, but we can't really utilize it outside of, in this situation, North Carolina and South Carolina. So how do we utilize that brand? In this situation, the best way to do it was through local search. Yeah. And at that point, we went to Placeable. We said, help us. We have no digital footprint. And Placeable jumped in, got it, knew exactly what we needed to do, and got us out there.
Yeah, and for a lot of people, location targeting is kind of a new thing they're getting into, and it's a hot trend. For you, it's required. So really just kind of the imperative for what we're about to go over. So here's kind of what you guys did. Ari, I'll actually tee you up to talk about this as a form of Placeable Pages, what you did, and actually then I'll let you, Heather, talk about the results. But first, the what.
Sure. So first and foremost, working with large multi-location advertisers. Once you get to the size of AAA or even some of our other clients, you get to the point where manual manipulation of your content becomes unreasonable. Using the Placeable platform, first and foremost, enabled AAA to aggregate and consolidate all the information they had about their locations, and then cleanse and normalize that information and take multiple sources of information about their locations and consolidate it and turn it into a single source of record that was accurate. From there, we went and started to spin up local pages, and our CMS system enables you to build anywhere from 100 to 500,000 to 1 million individual local landing pages with unique content being fed from the CMS platform. And we spun up 1,200 unique pages in a couple of minutes for AAA and index those pages so that basically all of them are on page one and most of them in the first or second position. Most of our advertisers achieve basically a roadblock effect for their locations where they're not just a link on page one, but they're almost every link on page one. The result set for that obviously is over 800% increase in traffic for AAA, about 35,000 new users that are converting at about 25% a month into a phone call or a lead or an offering.
Now I want to get into that 25% and kind of the result, but first a few nuts and bolts questions. So 1,200, how many were before this point? Even if it's ballpark.
It was about 20.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So what we see here in this graphic, and this is kind of, I guess, more nuts and bolts, it's essentially cross-platform, cross-device, because that is the path to purchase these days in a lot of different product categories. Are you working with responsive design or optimizing for different smartphones? Or what have you found there that is tactically any interesting learnings for this audience?
So the Placeable platform is a holistic system that's looking at first and foremost optimization of the local page, but that also looks at data distribution to support the validity of the local page. So not only are we taking content and positioning it into a CMS system that's designed for optimization for search, but that content's also being repositioned and syndicated to support the validity of that page. And so we take that information and it's pushed into Google and Facebook and Foursquare and Yahoo and Bing and used not to optimize directory positioning, but to basically share to the index information with continuity back to the local page to give lift to that local page. With integrated calls to action into the pages so that you can obviously derive and generate leads.
Sure, and the maintenance too is probably half the battle, not just setting up, but you probably have a lot of different dynamic sources of data where people are moving or whatnot.
Yeah, we do. We've actually, it's been a work in progress when it comes to the data, but this has actually pushed us to cleansing our data and creating a more organic, updated data feed that is actually automated to Placeable a couple of times a day. So we actually are moving closer to real-time updates.
And it's really a testament to having the data correct from the beginning before it starts to branch out. And I know you guys do a good job of that. So let's talk about these results, not just quantitatively, but I want to dwell on the qualitative aspects of it. That 25% is great, and we talked about this a bit offline. In that previous, you were getting a lot of what we often call tire kickers, which is really a drain on your business because it's an opportunity cost to deal with bad leads, that kind of thing. So what are you seeing there?
Absolutely. It's funny because each one of our business lines experience the same thing. We have our agents do so much to bring a lead in-house that we wanted to look at placing quality call to actions out there to the public. And this is what Placeable has succeeded at. They have eliminated the quantity of these leads and sort of place the focus on quality. These are people that are physically going to convert. They want to purchase, they want to get an insurance policy, they want travel, they want to pull their car into one of our car care centers. And it has certainly we've certainly seen the increase when it comes from an agent perspective, and all of the agents are just thrilled that they have weeded out these tire kicker sort of non-prospective clients and are focusing on the ones that really matter.
Now, in terms of lead forms, you have a very unique mix of business lines: car care, insurance, all So, what are the types of calls to actions you're looking to drive? Do they want the phone to ring? Do they want people coming in? And how does that kind of shape what you've done here?
Of course, it's sort of funny because we all sort of hoping to being an in-house marketing company, we're all very, come on, just let it be the same lead, let it be the same call to action. But of course, they all want very different call to actions. And our car care centers, obviously that business line is getting the cars into the bays.
Yeah.
Insurance is getting leads, whatever source that may be. Travel, very different. They want agents. They want the people to contact their agents and come into the stores. So we have very unique call to actions for each one of our business verticals. And Placeable has accommodated all of those by customizing each one of the agent pages and the location pages according to those call to actions.
Yeah, and I think that says a lot about your versatility too, in kind of dealing with something that is somewhat narrow and specific. But I want to give you the chance also, Ari, to talk about how that applies even on a broader scale, just more to the testament to your variability and versatility, I should say. And you have a lot of examples of the kind of multi-location businesses that you've automated in this sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Part of our ability to deliver that kind of a customized experience is in the scale of our platform. We currently manage nearly 2 million locations in literally every single one of the almost 200 countries in the world. Plus 25 different territories and 17 or 18 different languages.
Yeah.
Our platform has the ability to put the right kind of content on the right page for the right user, as Nicole was saying, at the right time, the right place. Mm-hmm. The content, once it's in Placeable, can be extracted and to the page's design with any number of specific needs and restrictions. We work with some of the most regulated companies in the world, banks and insurance companies, and so when we do things like making sure that we understand where there are geographical lines, results may not necessarily include just proximity to where you are, but there may be limitations to how you will deliver results to a page. Examples of this are during Hurricane Sandy, Chase used our system to produce results to folks in the Metro New York area of which ATM machines had money every 10 minutes. Or which Shell gas station had gas every 15 minutes. And so rapid update of our technology allows us to distribute that content out web-wide for consumer use.
Yeah, that's great. And I think that speaks to the need for what is sometimes looked at as having a certain degree of latency, which is kind of search results and that kind of thing. But I think that your speed in situations like that open up a very interesting use case. So Heather, we're about out of time, but I want to give you the final word. In kind of what you've learned from this, what's next, and also buried in there is a question of, there's a lot of discussion here on this conference about the unique kind of operational workings of any multi-location business. Some are more decentralized, some are more centralized. AAA as an organization, I've heard you talk about how, you kind of get together with different other regional kind of entities and kind of share stories and what are you finding elsewhere within the organization too, and what are you telling them what you've learned?
So we work, even though we work as almost like a franchise organization, each territorial club acts completely separate of the other territories in the country and Canada. There's roughly, I think, 60 AAA clubs in the U.S. right now. We all share best practices. We work, sort of cliche, but we work as a tiny digital family. And we share these best practices because we all experience the exact same growing pains, whether you have 225,000 members or in our case at Carolina's 2.5 million. So we share best practices, worst practices, what works, what doesn't. And with Placeable, why not share the silver bullet? Why not give them something that works? Because we have tried and couldn't expand our digital footprint with our restrictions, and Placeable got it. They knew what to do. And why not spread the wealth? Because obviously we're just seeing astronomical success from it.
Great for Ari. You probably have more potential business for 48 other clubs or however many you said.
I couldn't have written that better.
Yeah, right. So that's all the time we have. We're going to have one more segment, but please join me in thanking these guys.